I never thought I'd be the kind of man who would question his wife's behavior in public. Emily had always carried herself with grace, and for the longest time, I trusted her completely. We had been married for 7 years, and despite the normal ups and downs, I believed our foundation was solid. But sometimes, the smallest moments can unravel everything you thought you knew about a person. And about your marriage. It started at a friend's birthday party. The room was filled with laughter, music, and the faint clinking of glasses as people moved to the rhythm of the night. I wasn't much of a dancer, never have been, but Emily loved it. I usually sat back and enjoyed watching her move with that effortless charm that first drew me to her. But that night, something felt different. My best friend, Ryan, was there too. He's been in my life since college, the kind of friend you'd trust with your life. I introduced him to Emily years ago, and over time, the three of us shared countless dinners, trips, and casual hangouts. But I never once imagined I'd see what I saw that night. The music shifted into something slow, sensual even. Emily was on the dance floor, her smile bright and playful, but instead of beckoning me, she turned to Ryan. And just like that, they were in sync, his hand at her waist, her body leaning into his. At first, I told myself it was harmless, just a dance between friends. But as the minutes passed, the closeness, the whispers, and the way her hand lingered on his shoulder felt like something else entirely. I felt my chest tighten, heat rising in my face. People around were watching, some even smirking, like they knew I had no control over what was happening in front of me. I forced myself to stay calm, but the longer I watched, the harder it became. It wasn't jealousy eating at me, it was the disrespect. When the song ended and they returned, I pulled Emily aside. My voice was low, strained, but steady. "Why would you dance like that with Ryan?" I asked. Her eyes narrowed, her lips curling into a half-smirk. "Don't be controlling," she spat back. Her words hit me harder than I expected. "Don't be controlling." It echoed in my mind like an accusation I didn't deserve. I wasn't trying to control her. I was trying to understand why my wife thought it was acceptable to wrap herself around my best friend in front of everyone we knew. "Emily, I'm not controlling," I said, keeping my tone measured. "I just don't think that kind of dancing with Ryan is appropriate. He's my best friend, and you're my wife. Do you see how that looks?" She crossed her arms, her jaw tightening. "So what? It was just a dance. You're reading too much into it." But I wasn't imagining the way her body pressed against his, or how Ryan's smile carried a kind of satisfaction I had never noticed before. My gut told me this wasn't just a harmless moment. Still, I swallowed my doubts, because the alternative, that there was something deeper happening, was almost unbearable. The rest of the night dragged on. I avoided Ryan, barely acknowledging him, while Emily laughed and mingled as if nothing had happened. When we finally got home, I tried again, hoping that away from the noise and the crowd, she might be more understanding. "Emily," I began, "please try to see it from my perspective. I trust you, but when you dance with Ryan like that, it crosses a line. It's not about control, it's about respect." Her response was swift, dismissive. "Respect? You think I disrespected you? You're insecure, Michael. That's the real problem." Insecure. The word stung. I had always considered myself confident, steady, not easily rattled. But standing there in our kitchen, under the harsh glow of the overhead light, I felt like I was shrinking. I tried to explain again, but she brushed past me, muttering that she was tired and going to bed. That night, I lay awake, staring at the ceiling, my mind racing. It wasn't just about the dance anymore. It was about the way she defended it, the sharpness in her voice, the refusal to acknowledge my feelings. Something was shifting between us, and for the first time in years, I felt like Emily and I weren't on the same team. The days that followed were heavy with silence. Emily acted as though nothing had happened, moving through our home with a kind of practiced normalcy, while I carried the weight of every word she had thrown at me. Insecure, controlling, overreacting. Each one chipped away at the trust one thought we had built over the years. Ryan didn't make things easier. He texted me casually, as if nothing was wrong, sending memes, asking if I wanted to grab a drink, pretending the night at the party had been ordinary. But every time I saw his name on my phone, I remembered the look on his face as he held my wife close, the smugness in his grin that I couldn't unsee. Finally, I decided to confront him. We met at a cafe, and after a few minutes of small talk, I leaned forward and asked, "Ryan, what exactly was going on at that party? You know what I'm talking about." He smirked, sipping his coffee before answering. "Man, you're making it a bigger deal than it was. Emily's fun. You're lucky she's not boring like some wives. Don't strangle her with your jealousy." The casual disrespect in his tone made my blood boil. I realized then that Ryan wasn't just crossing boundaries. He was testing me, maybe even enjoying the wedge he was driving between Emily and me. That night, I told Emily what had happened. I expected her to finally understand, to see Ryan for who he was. Instead, she exploded. "So now you're interrogating my friends? Do you hear yourself, Michael? You're suffocating me." Her words tore through me. I wasn't suffocating her. I was losing her. And maybe she wanted it that way. As I lay in bed alone, listening to the distant hum of the city outside our window, one truth became clear. The marriage I thought was built on loyalty and respect was slipping through my fingers. Emily had chosen to defend Ryan, to dismiss me, to treat my concerns like chains. And as much as it hurt, I began to wonder if the real betrayal wasn't the dance itself, but the way my wife looked at me as though I was the enemy.